holy seeker of God, every day can bring you one step closer or one step further away. You have this beautiful choice within you that more than likely you did not know that you had a choice in past lives, or at least you did not know that the choice was so distinct. And you thought possibly that your choices were between two elements of possible difficulty. Where did the expression come from, the lesser of two evils? That you may have thought that whatever you chose was not going to be really perfect in any way. But when you came to the place of discovering that you actually have a choice between reality and insanity, it changed everything. It changed everything because with the choice between sanity and insanity, and yet one looked like more sanity than the other because it's what you were used to, it became a questionable question, a questionable choice. And it's a deep learning to choose between love and fear because it doesn't always look that way. Sometimes the choice of fear looks very plausible because the fear has been the top dog for lifetime after lifetime. And it many times comes down to reason, to things being reasonable, making sense to you. And as you walk the spiritual journey, you find more and more that your your belief that it's reasonable to you is not necessarily a recommendation, because it may be that what you're really looking for is God's direction, and you haven't been there necessarily in that way before. So it can still seem strange. The advantage of using teachings can't be overestimated in its powerful help. The beloved who turns easily to teachings has a much easier time in the everyday world. The more that you hold teachings in your heart, the easier the day becomes because the teaching is leading you, and you are aware that it's resting in your heart. It's a deep learning to listen to the voice of love that whispers so much more than the voice of the ego that usually is screaming. All of this learning is what seems almost to be a full time job because you're relearning to recognize your true self. You're learning that there is a fountain of love that completely recognizes your perfection and recognizes who you are. But without that fountain of love activated, the forgetting is easy. And then it's the teachings that bring you back again and again and again. There's nothing really more delicious than having a teaching that you're carrying and that you can keep referencing to, keep calling on that teaching, and it keeps pulling you out of the fear, keeps pulling you out of the doubt, it keeps pulling you out of the hesitation that you might have. And those teachings become precious gifts that are almost ones that you would carry in a gilded box of importance, because it would be the most important thing in your life. And every teaching has that capacity. If you take a teaching that says you can see peace instead of what you're now seeing, and you take that teaching and you bring it into awareness every time you start to doubt, every time you feel a reaction coming from some kind of thought that was fearful, but you keep pulling at this teaching, and it keeps bringing you back to a stability that, of course, you could see peace instead of anything that you might be seeing. That peace is always yours to embrace. And the only thing that you're doing with the teaching is that you're putting it into action, which is so essential. When you are taking a teaching, you could see peace instead of what you're seeing now as the teaching, and you bring that into your life. You are manifesting that teaching into a deeper reality for you. You are taking the teaching and bringing it into a life form that you can actually live. If you're standing with that teaching and you really pray with it and affirm, I could see peace instead of what I'm now experiencing. And you take that teaching and you go forward with it into the situation. And you are determined to bring peace to the situation. I could see peace instead of what I'm now seeing. And you affirm it, and you want to see peace with whoever it is that you're speaking to or whoever you're standing with. And that's your determination. Your intention is to be at peace. And then you realize you are at peace because you chose peace in that moment. And now you have a different relationship with whoever else is part of this healing. This is always your choice. And as it's sometimes called, your tools, you want those tools to be with you at all times. Because why would you want to walk through the world again and again with the fear that you had in the past? Or getting triggered by different things that are still clinging. And when you have your tools with you, your problem solving repertoire, you pull out those tools, those truths, and you use them to bring you back to sanity. And I can tell you that unless you really work at it, they will not fail you. There are no lessons that have been brought into humanity's way of learning that will not serve you. Something as simple but as piercing as only love is real. Only love is real. So whatever it is that you're hooked with, if if you're not in a loving space, which is peaceful, then you must be making something up. And then you have this opportunity to change your mind, to change your choosing, to choose peace, to choose love, and the willingness to acknowledge that this is what you're here for, to remember the truth of love. Calling on the divine is the same thing as having a teaching close to your heart. You call the divine will always answer and stand with you in the correction that will bring you back to peace, that will bring you back to harmony, to trust. When I feel this pain inside and I find nowhere to hide, Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. This sorrow now imprisons me. Somehow I need to be set free. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Heal me of my hurt and fear. Reveal the face of God so near. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. As I move toward the light, defend me from the dark of night. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Thank you for the love you give. In compassion for your son I live. Mother, rain your love on me. 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 The safety of a mother's care. This is the calling of the Divine Mother. And make no mistake, there is a Divine Mother. And she will answer your call for love, your call for help, your call for clarity. She will answer it every time if you're willing to have that communication. It's always there for you. Rain your love on me. You can say anything you want. You can say, rain your love on me. You can say, hold my hand. You can say, walk me across the street. You can say, show me the comfort of a deeper reality. Whatever you ask, you're opening a door. And your question will be answered, whatever it is. Your call for help will be answered, whatever it is. But it does take, it takes a leap of faith. And it also takes a humility to ask for help. Not it's not the asking when you are desperate and feel like you're drowning, that's usually what most of us can come to ask for help when we're ready to drown. But it's in the everyday willingness to be taught that the ego really rails against. I don't want to be taught. That's what the ego screams most of the time. Especially the ego will say, I'm 55 years old, I'm 60 years old, I'm whatever, and I know my own life. I know what's needed. I know how to look at everything. I know this stuff. And the contrast to being able to say, please help me and show me the way is it's striking because when you ask for help, you're really saying, I am willing to go beyond this dimension. I'm willing to go and join in the vibration of love that is way beyond this dimension. And I need to be taken because I can't find my way myself. Lead me, show me. And what happens is when you ask to be led, when you ask to be shown, there is a breaking of a structure that you've carried, the I'll do it myself structure. It's a painful structure because it is the expectation you put on yourself is that you will find the way and that you know the way. And yet there's so much that guidance will bring you. So much of the mysteries of the universe because everything is new. Everything is, I don't know. Take me back to where I can remember. Be willing to remember the truth that is waiting to be discovered. When all you had was God, oh my beloved, I searched both worlds but never found joy without you. I have seen many wonders but never a wonder like you. I pressed my soul's ear against countless doors but never heard words as sweet as yours. Oh, what grace you pour upon your servants. From our view, the ocean looks so small. Pour the wine that takes me beyond myself. For this petty existence brings nothing but fatigue. You are the endless love. You are the heavenly song. You are the mother and father. You are the one I have always known. We are scraps of iron. Your love is the magnet that draws us near. Why should I seek? All I need do is love. Rest now, my soul. Leave behind your religion and your empty show of faith. Remember when you had no religion. Remember when all you had was God. All you had was God. I was using a term today, an example that was opening to God, opening to the divine, like you were falling in love for the first time, where you can't think of anybody else and everything reminds you of God. And you want to share what you're learning, you want to communicate that with your beloved. And nothing else matters except your love with God. And what you find happens is that with everyone that you're with, you see more and more of the God within them. Because when you're in love, you see that reflection everywhere. And you're looking more and more at perfection. And if you find yourself hesitating on that deep communication, that devotion, ask to learn devotion because it is part of you. It is an extension of your love. And what else would you be devoted to but to what created you and your home? That's what your devotion would be. But it also extends that your devotion then becomes the servant of God that serves all creation. And your love is expanding because of your devotion. Because it's the first thought that you have when you wake up in the morning, and it's the last thought you have when you go to sleep. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's the first thought that you have as well. Why is that important that it be your first thought? How can you go from a life in illusion to the life of reality without having the devotion to the truth? It would be just about impossible because the devotion is what has been feared. Devotion in the world seems to be a place of weakness rather than strength, but in actuality, it is your strength. It is what you're here for. There's a way of checking checking your mind's clarity, asking yourself in the quiet, what do I want? What's my purpose? And how do I want to spend this lifetime? Do I want to be free to love? Now, you'd think most everybody would say, well, yeah, I want to be free to love. But being free to love means having no judgment, no opinions, no idea of what somebody's journey needs to look like, having no idea what even today looks like for each beloved. The offering of your devotion then begins to move into the world as well, not to rescue anyone, not to um, hold them as special, but to see each beloved as the beauty, the innocence of God. Even when they don't see it, when they don't recognize their innocence, you hold it for them. And you treat them with love and respect because they are the innocence of God. And you treat yourself with love and respect because you are the innocence of God. It's a wonderful day when your criticism can't be abided anymore, that you can't stand it anymore when you criticize yourself, that it hurts. And that is the sign that there's healing. It's too easy. We've all been in that place where we accepted the self criticism easily. And this is one of the absolutely right uses of denial, as so many are. It's to deny your criticism, what you think you know, what you think it means, whether it's a criticism of someone else or it's a criticism of you, it's the same thing. You may think that you have to get hold of this self criticism in a deeper way, but it actually, there's no difference between criticizing someone else and criticizing yourself. It's the same dart of poison, it's the same weapon. And you're one with everyone, so it deeply touches you if your criticism is towards someone else. As I think it's a Buddhist saying that if you are criticizing, dig two graves, one for yourself and one for the other that you're criticizing, because it has the same impact, the same poison. Any time, make no mistake of what criticism is, what judgment is. Any time you have an opinion about someone else, like you're just noticing that you walk funny or whatever it is, whatever it is that you think is an opinion or just an observation, it's a criticism. Criticism, judgment, opinions, it's all the same. Even I think they look really good with their haircut that way. It's an opinion that, what does it mean? It means you believe that they could be having a lousy haircut. You're not seeing the divine that they are. This is what we refer to as the shiny object. Now, you wouldn't think a haircut would be a shining object, but it can be, because it can take your attention that you want to give approval for something that has no real meaning. That beloved that you wanted to critique their hair, instead, move toward them, open your heart, and truly bless the truth of who they are. You don't have to even say the words, but you're holding it in your heart. Remember when you had no religion, when all you had was God. The reference to religion here is because religion has the habit of making rule keepers very happy. Religions have lots of rules, and people who like rules like that element of religion as well. Not to mistake religion and spirituality as the same. Everyone is a spiritual being. They are not a human having a spiritual experience. They are spirit having a human experience, as we all have been. A human experience being an ego experience. And who would have thought that after all that learning to get an identity, the next thing that you would be called to is to unlearn the identity so that you can really find your divine spirit that's waiting to be discovered. The spirit of God is what you are, and it is what you are now. The healing that we talk about is not because you need to make a better identity. It's because everything that you think you are is made up. It's an unraveling of a false identity to discover the true identity that is always in your heart, your divine spirit that can't be altered from the truth. But to know that divine spirit, to meet that divine spirit, is to let go of the facade of the false identity. You are the endless love. You are the heavenly song. You are the mother and the father. And you are the one I will always know. That's who you're calling to. That's who you're communing with. That's the prayer center. You are the endless love. Endless love. Can you contemplate on the endless love? That means there's no beginning and no end. Love is all encompassing. And everything that you see, everything that you walk with is the spirit of love. In everything, there is the divine spirit of love. What more could we ask for but to be able to live with the divine spirit of love? To be that divine spirit of love. I pressed my soul's ear against countless doors, but never heard words as sweet as yours. This is written by a beloved who is smitten, smitten by the love of God, smitten and dancing with the love of God, wanting only to hear the voice of God leading the way all the time, easily and effortlessly in the light of God. So if God is waiting to be communicated with all the time, and if the truth is only you can deprive yourself of anything, are you depriving yourself of that communication, of that tender prayer time that you communicate with your beloved? What would happen if you call God your beloved? Would you run from it or would you go toward it? That's the question, because that way you're aware if you're resisting or you're coming forward to the truth. Only you can deprive yourself of anything. This is the wonderful news, because if only you can deprive yourself of anything, then there is nothing to watch anyone else for. There's nothing to try to see if somebody's trying to take advantage or doing anything, taking anything, because only you can deprive yourself of anything. And the strangest part of depriving yourself of anything is that it's all in the mind, and how painful it can be when we walk into the scarcity principle and believe it has value and has an effect on you. You cannot deprive yourself of anything unless you choose to deprive yourself of anything. But nobody else can in any direction. So if no one can deprive you of anything, what happens to your defense system? What happens to your mind's defense system where it thinks it knows and it decides and it protects and it defends? And now it's time for that part of the ego identity to be surrendered. God is not the enemy. God is the ultimate friend that walks with you for all eternity. And you can come home right now. Come home to your heart. Come home to the truth of God. Rest now in your soul and accept peace of God.